Nice and Easy is the 17th episode of the first season of The Golden Girls. This is directed by Terry Hughes, and there will be spoilers from now as I discuss what happens in this episode. And I really enjoy this one. It's definitely very funny. There are some specific quotes that I've written down that I will share, things that made me laugh. But the narrative is really, really well written and really enjoyable. So as I said, there will be spoilers from now, and we establish the main narrative pretty quickly. It starts off with Sophia painting her toenails, and Blanche explains that Lucy, her niece, will be here soon. And then we have the subplot established at the same time as Dorothy is getting very stressed because there is what she calls a rat in the kitchen. Rose explains that it's just a mouse, and she tells this story about the time Larry the mouse saved her life. It's a sweet story, and I just love how happy she is. She has the biggest smile on her face as she's telling this story. It is absolutely adorable. And then enter Hallie Todd as Lucy, and although she's coming to stay with her Aunt Blanche, she is actually spending a lot of time outside. And before we learn more about Lucy and the situations that Lucy is putting herself in, we get a joke about O.J. Simpson. Dorothy asks Rose if she knows how weird she is. And then Lucy comes home, and it turns out she met a doctor. She is in love with him. And obviously this has happened very quickly. And we then find out pretty much immediately after that she went to an interview that she was meant to be going at. And she's now having a date with Michael, the college interviewer. And Sophia, when Lucy's not in the room, Sophia quite bluntly says, "The girl's a slut." And I just didn't expect it to be so blunt, even from Sophia. And I just found that to be so funny, so entertaining. Obviously, calling somebody a slut or slut-shaming isn't a great thing, but coming out of Sophia's mouth, it's very, very funny. And then it escalates, because it turns out that Lucy has now met somebody called Ed. Ed is a police officer who arrested Michael when she was at the airport, and Blanche puts her foot down and basically forbids Lucy from going out. But as Lucy points out, she's 20. She can do what she wants, and she does. And Blanche is kind of flabbergasted that her niece would just look her in the eyes, turn around, and walk out the door. And she doesn't really know what to do about this. So the girls have a bit of a discussion about rebellion in youth, and Rose tells a delightful and charming story about the time that she stole a tractor. And then Blanche tells a series of very quick stories about many things that she did to rebel when she was younger. And it definitely helps to show that while Lucy is obviously showing some pretty negative behaviour and also very dangerous behaviour, it's not unusual. So it's probably not great to shame her for this, because everybody goes through a rebellious phase, or most people do. And they come to the realisation that instead of trying to control Lucy's actions, she needs a big sister figure. And this is something that we see Blanche trying to do. But before we do that, we get the brilliant quote from Dorothy, where she asks Rose, "How many head wounds have you had?" Out of context, probably doesn't sound that funny, but Rose had just been telling a story about somebody who'd had multiple head wounds. So when Dorothy said that, I laughed out loud. I thought it was very, very entertaining. The timing, the delivery of the line, just absolutely perfect. And then they go over to this Ed's house, this police officer's house. Rose is stroking what we can assume is a taxidermied sheep, which is not something I thought I would see in this episode. And Blanche does have a heart-to-heart with Lucy, and Lucy clearly wasn't wanting to listen. But ultimately, she managed to get the message through. And we have this great line where Blanche says, "If you can't respect yourself, neither can anyone else," which I think is a pretty important and very accurate message. And then ultimately Lucy goes back, everything seems to be working out fine, but we still have the problem with the mouse. And we have this fabulous scene where Dorothy is talking to the mouse. The mouse is absolutely adorable, and she doesn't realise that Rose has come into the kitchen at the same time and witnesses this, and Rose is so happy because, in her words, Dorothy has the gift, this ability to communicate with mice, and it's so fabulous. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. And then we end on another line that I thought was very entertaining. Again, probably not appropriate, but coming out of Sophia's mouth, I loved it. And it's when Dorothy said to Lucy, "We've enjoyed having you," and Sophia replies, "So did half of Miami." It made me laugh a lot. I definitely enjoyed this episode. I laughed, I think, more than I have in recent episodes. That's not to say recent episodes haven't been entertaining, because they absolutely have, but I just found this one to be so much more amusing, but with some important messages about self-respect as well. So everything about this was brilliant. Nice and Easy is an episode with so many great moments, and one that I really thoroughly enjoyed.